Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny. Lightfall is just a few weeks away, and this is the time that Bungie is going to start hitting us pretty hard with tons of trailers and articles and press releases. And today we got treated to the customary exotic gear trailer that comes before every expansion, this time showcasing some of the new exotic gear coming in Lightfall, and things are looking pretty good. If you're worried about strand gear for your build crafting, fear not, we seem to be covered pretty well. So let's jump in and check out all of the new. Alright, so along with the trailer, Bungie put out a press release which actually details the exotics, so I'm going to use those descriptions. You can compare them to what the trailer shows on screen, which is a little bit different, so just in case you're wondering where I'm getting some of the descriptions that I'm going to be reading. So the trailer starts with the first exotic, Final Warning. This is a strand exotic that shoots tracking rounds that seek out nearby enemies. This thing is tiny but looks super cool. It also looks like a total instrument of the darkness, and tracking bullets have a very Haloed Needler vibe to them, so I'm very excited. This will of course live in your top kinetic slot as it joins Strand, as what I assume will eventually turn into the darkness slot once the third darkness comes out next year with the final shape, but for now the top slot is kinetic, stasis, and now Strand. Next up we've got Deterministic Chaos. It is a void machine gun that rhythmically weakens enemies as it fires. The 4th shot weakens and the 16th shot makes it volatile. Awesome to see more exotics dishing out the Void 3.0 debuffs, especially those of Void, which are very powerful, so the ability to have this in your back pocket while you're still using Strand is a very compelling combination. Next is Zirtarachni's Facade. The exotic helmet gives extra protection as hunters gain armor and flinch resistance when they grapple. So it looks like activating that grapple gives you temporary flinch resistance through this woven mail. My guess is 10 seconds, just enough to get the upper hand on your next engagement. I'd love to see if it has more of a strand effect, maybe some ability regeneration. Other than that, it's going to be very interesting to test this out in PvP for sure, just like it's showcased right here. Next is Abeyant Leap. When Titans use their barricade with this exotic leg armor, it spawns seeking projectiles that suspends enemies and gives armor to the wielder, which looks like the same woven mail as the Hunter's Facade armor gives. It'll be interesting to see if that's just something that every class can also get, this sort of weave armor that maybe gives you additional benefits as well. But regardless, the exotic looks to be buffing what I speculate to be one of the Titan's strand aspects. This sends out lashes, which are these waves of strand that suspend enemies. It looks like the exotic is providing the additional left and right lashes that you see here. Next up, they showcase the Quicksilver Storm Catalyst. Quicksilver Storm is the new kinetic exotic auto rifle acquired by pre-ordering Lightfall that unlocks it instantly, so you can actually use it in the game right now. However, the Catalyst is something that's being released in Lightfall, and this adds a grenade that kills and creates strand tangles. You can pick these up and throw them at enemies. It looks like it works exactly like it does with the Runius effigy. That gun creates transmutation spheres that you can pick up and throw at other enemies, so same concept applied here. Next is something that I definitely want to learn a lot more about and has me very excited, and that is these Swarmers exotic leg armor for the Warlocks. It creates threadlings that infest and attack enemies after destroying a tangle. So here you see the Warlock shooting the tangle, and it spawns 2 of these threadlings. They sort of spawn on the ground and then seek out and destroy their enemies, and it seems like it does a fair amount of damage. Now the interesting thing is that I think there are some other ways that the Warlock can spawn some threadlings. I don't know about the other classes, but certainly the Warlock, if you look at the subclass description, the Warlock strand subclass is called Broodweaver, and it's described as follows. Broodweavers effortlessly manipulate the weave using only their mind. From the backline, these kinetic sorcerers can even twist Strand into sentient creatures to do their bidding. We didn't really know what this was going to look like, and here it is right here. It is in the shape of these threadlings. And that tells us that this concept of threadlings is not just locked to the exotic boots, but rather this is another way to make them spawn. My guess is that this could be sort of the second half of the Warlock super that we haven't seen yet. The enemies you kill could turn into these threadlings and go seek out more enemies. Or it could be an entire aspect onto itself, and this exotic grants you the freedom to slot other aspects while still having the threadling ability, similar to how getaway artists allow you to spec off of the Arc Soul aspect with Arc. Next, we have the breathtaking Winterbite.
You're breathtaking!
A stasis exotic glaive that freezes enemies on impact with frost orbs, leaving them vulnerable to follow-up attacks. So it looks like we're getting our first top slot glaive. My only concern is that it looks like it functions like the other exotic glaives we currently have, in that it doesn't have much of an exotic functionality until you activate the alternative fire mode. It looks like the frost orb will function exactly like it does with the healing turret or the mini bubble on the other exotic glaives. I just hope that the standard attacks also have some kind of stasis or exotic effect. Maybe repeated melee attacks can slow the enemy, something along those lines. If it's just like the others, I don't know how much I'll really be using it, which is a crying shame because of how amazing it looks.
You're all breathtaking!
Anyways, that brings us to the end of the analysis. It was a really cool peek behind the STRAND curtain. It was also awesome to see some of the new weapons, but even cooler hearing some of the different STRAND terms like threadling and tangle and weave mail. And I just can't wait to learn even more, hopefully coming up pretty soon here in the next few weeks as we lead up to Lightfall. What in the trailer has you most excited? I'm personally hoping that Void machine gun is really good because it looks like it might be pretty useful in the legendary campaign coming up. I know I'm going to want to use STRAND, but having those Void debuffs in your back pocket is going to be super clutch. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of this juicy Lightfall news as it comes. We are inching closer to release, so things are going to get real spicy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.